A game not without its fair share of highlights, and when you have the likes of ZYWOO and s1MPLE going head-to-head, that perfectly makes sense. But when we got into that second half, the stats truly don't lie. We knew that Vitality had a formidable T-side on this map, and Yanko, I feel like BC Game got to feel the full wrath of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And we said, you know, BC Game doesn't have the ability to punish in this veto. They have to go for what they feel good on, and that's too. Unfortunately, it's also one of Vitality's better maps. It feels like, but they had their opportunities. You know, when you think about a couple of rounds where they messed up, you know, in the first half, that flamesy ace, that was just a couple of saved guns and a half buy, and you know, but it's just where they are at now as a team. Those mistakes are going to happen. It's not going to be super clean, and against a team like Vitality, you're going to be punished.
Sliver of hope on the first half, I believe, from the BC Game. I think they did manage to make it at least a bit as exciting, but then when they turned to the other side, Vitality just did what they're good at, you know, just played out the defaults, played out the situation. Yeah, there was mistakes here and there, but they were obviously doing good enough to just not really fumble the situation and just even it out in the end.
Well, you mentioned the flamesy ace already, Yanko. Dupree, should we roll this one and break down just why this was so beautiful?
Yeah, why not? I mean, like, that kind of what turned the momentum a little bit in the favor of Vitality after this one, and, you know, Flamesy sometimes gets like to the part where he's overlooked, but the way he just dodges that flash and then actually just managed to get like a 4K with an MP9 in one mag, that is that's quite impressive. You know, he likes that weapon. Then potentially he actually get boosted by Apex here to find the ace, and it's good to get your. Yeah, I wouldn't say you're obviously not your star player, but like you're very aggressive player in the likes of Flames to get a good start to the turn with a lot of confidence, and he definitely managed to just win this round by himself and make sure that Vitality didn't lose too many of the situations.
I think it's totally fair to say that, yeah, very close first half that we saw fled home from BC Game. What was your takeaway though when we flipped the script from that first half into the second? What do you think BC Game were doing in that halftime?
I mean, just they wanted to continue playing well, but I think at the first half, it was more of a brawl. It was a fight for who's going to come out on top in the first half. And at the halftime, I was just thinking about the game. I'm like, this is not a favorite or an underdog game. It looks like two equal teams fighting. But then once Vitality won the first pierce round, I realized this is... Yeah, it was a fortunate moment for BC Game to step up in that first half, but Vitality had their number. We
also got to hear a little mic'd up moment from s1MPLE there, where there was actually a lot of praise coming from him. Maybe he's a new man now, JL.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, getting a lot of praise from such a man, I mean, it should hype you up, for sure. I mean, it didn't help him in the second half, but at least it felt good.
Dupree said he's had hype up once.
7 once.
Well, how many times did you get hyped up by s1MPLE?
I don't recall once.
Oh!
Not even once.
Wow.
No,
wow.
It's not like it didn't happen. It's just that I don't remember.
You don't remember.
I don't focus on that. On those
To be
moments.
fair, I mean, Dupree got praised once, and at that point he had 5 majors. You know, for JL, this came before his major MVP. So maybe, you know, if you were to play with him now,
it just meant a lot to me to get praised by s1MPLE. Come on.
I think it makes sense. I think it totally makes sense. Let's talk a bit about that second half though, because unfortunately for BC came one solitary CT round, just a sea of T rounds for Vitality. What are we looking at in terms of what we can break down from this?
Yeah, but it was a kind of interesting round, and I think they had the round after this one was key, where s1MPLE missed the shot on Apex. But this one, I like sort of how they communicated, because at the start of the round, you're going to be seeing how Vitality is putting pressure B, but we'll get to that. But I think they had a couple of opportunities on the CT side. It just they couldn't capitalize on them when it was sort of the most important. So Vitality opens up by throwing double HEB. This is important because, like, this is sort of simulating they might want to end the round on B, you know, like they're throwing something early on. Maybe it's just anti-strat for that position, right? They throw some pressure long as well. At this time, you can also see this smoke on short. So that's one smoke out of the 3A players, right? And in the meantime, what also happened here, if we go back, if you look at the utility for the CTs, right? There's no smoke on Aragorn, no smoke on s1MPLE. That's because Aragorn threw his smoke to s1MPLE, and they're going to go for this flash play long in a second. So Aragorn is going to get long control. He gives that extra smoke to s1MPLE, and now both Mutiris and s1MPLE still have a smoke with 50 seconds left. So that's like 30 plus seconds of blocking and not a lot of time left if Vitality wants to go A. And you're going to see that's exactly what happens. Simple even throws his to Mutiri so he can just focus on the op. And Vitality wants to go A, and they're thinking, all right, after this smoke we'll go. And now they get blocked again. And it's too late to switch. I mean, they could jump down mid and do something crazy, but they just decide to wait it out and go for it. And this really helped BC Game with the hold. Simple and Mutiris have a really strong defense here on the A bomb side. And I thought this was a really cool way. You know, it seemed like almost Simple said to Aragorn, no, I'm going to drop me your smoke, I'm going to flash you long to take control, how they put everything together. But, you know, this was just one round in isolation. They couldn't win consecutive rounds, and that was their downfall on Dust2.
I just felt very stressed in that specific round from Vitality. They could definitely feel the stress of the smoke landing, and they were like kind of forced to go because the clock also ran them down. So it's I think at this point they probably realized that we either needed to speed up or get maybe bait out some of the utility, but from there on it was more about Vitality having to make a little bit of a quicker decision.
I'm curious how you might have reacted, or maybe Na'Vi would have reacted if you were a few seconds prior to some of those smokes popping. Would you have made the call potentially to be rerouting to B? Would you have kind of just gone through them like we saw Vitality do? What do you reckon?
In the Vitality situation, they didn't have a lot of information of what defense they're running, and with 30 seconds left, you either make the suicide decision to run back towards mid to B and B, because they didn't have a lot of players towards there, so you have to telegraph it to the other team because they're making a lot of steps, or just wait it out. Maybe BC Game will think it's a fake and just pop through the smoke, because they waited 10 seconds for that smoke. They agreed and then they went through. Of course, BC Game had a good setup, they didn't falter, but yeah, it's up to the in-game leaders to call.
Yeah, 100%. And just in terms of the reactions then from there on out for BC Game, did you see any kind of characteristics you could pull out as to maybe why they weren't able to hold back that Vitality offense?
Probably the depth of the game and how Vitality approached the game. There's so many layers of actual to around, like they take control, they fake things, and for BC Game, they don't have a lot of protocols to counter that depth, that very deep game. And yeah, that's how Vitality managed to pull off a win. It's not like they went B exec and A short exec. They faked B, they went mid to B, they smoked, and then they went out short. There's a lot of layers to the round that BC Game don't have the ideas to counter.
There was also a couple of just small details that decided these rounds. I mean, Simple missing the shot on Apex on long. If he hits that, they can focus on short and they will win consecutive rounds, and maybe Vitality has to have by. And then the gun round after that is the 2v3 post plan from Apex and Robs, where Apex from headshot gets 2 kills on the tunnel players. You know, like if you win one of those 2 rounds as BC Game, maybe you can give yourselves a chance, but they couldn't do that, and just the Seoul City round is all they got.
If you don't mind, I do want to shift the conversation to talk about Overpass, because you said something very interesting, JL, that we didn't have time to pick on, but you said that sometimes you would pick a certain map just because you want to get a bit more practice on it in a tournament like of this level.
Yes, I mean, Vitality will have a second chance even if they lose this game.
True.
And BC Game is not the strongest of opponents in stage 2 of the tournament. And Vitality can certainly close it in the first map and the third map, even if they fail at the second one. And yeah, getting practice before the real stages of the tournament is really important. And even in Navi, back in Navi, used to do this. If you had a weaker opponent, let's get actual official practice before our games later.
I think it's also like if you think it's a punish against this team, like go ahead and do it. It's an added benefit if you want to get more reps on the map. Perhaps you wouldn't go out of your way, like let's say if it's their best map or second best map and now you just want to practice it. But absolutely, if you think it fits, and even though you're not loving it, this is the time to get those reps, better than, you know, for Furia to pick it against you for the first time in the quarterfinal, you know, or the semifinal.
If you don't love it now, you're not going to love it later on.
Exactly.
That's very true. I guess I would only raise you the fact that we saw BC Game actually picking this in stage 1 twice, albeit to some interesting results. One very bad one, and one of the most incredible comebacks we've seen all tournament long. So what do you kind of make of this as a second map, Peter?
It's going to be extremely difficult for BC Game once again. I mean, they're going to be playing like against a whole new caliber of team. Like obviously Vitality, they're super strong on Overpass and they want to play it. And whether it's for practice reasons or punishment, then they're the clear fit once again coming into this one. And I mean, for the BC Game side, it's probably more about still trying to figure out what went wrong in those games they played previously, but they've only had 24 hours since they played the last one. So there's probably still a lot of things that need to be fixed.
There's one big difference, though. This time, they get to start on the CT side.
Thank the Lord.
Yeah, but that's not always that doesn't necessarily a good way, because let's imagine they go that, like they just start losing from the get-go, then they will eventually just lose even more faith in them winning.
You need to look at it glass half full, Peter.
I'm
What
not
if they are up 5-0?
always half empty.
And they get that momentum, and they just see the legacy logo everywhere again, and they're getting hyped up.
We had a personality switch here. Like, what's happening? You're the positive guy. You're the negative guy today, Dupree. What side would you rather be starting on? Gel, when we're coming into Overpass, you would rather that CT start, sure.
Yeah, of course. You get the confidence going. Even if it's a 9-3 half and you have the worst T side in the whole of CS, it's a 9-3. You get confidence.
Well, let's see exactly how this one is going to be falling. For the first time, we actually do get to see BC Game starting CT side of Overpass. We saw a monumental comeback versus Legacy on this very half. Can they do it to Vitality, though? We'll find out after this short break.
Hi, this is Basement Dweller's first advertisement, and our second drop is it's up actually. If you're seeing this, it's up. It's available on the ESL shop. We had our first go at a jacket, and I'm really proud of it. I've always had an interest in clothes, but you know, seeing behind the scenes how the sausage is made has been a lot of fun. And if you like the clothes, tell me. If you hate the clothes, tell me, but try them before you slag them off. I think they're really comfy. So yeah, that's my advert. I'm gonna try again. I'm gonna record another one.
It starts with a dream, with a team you barely know, in an amateur official that feels like the grand final, where practice becomes progress, and every loss feels like a lesson. When will your journey begin?
Let's see.
Not pushing. I got short, side. Long, left side. Long one. Long as well. Dead long. Maybe more long. I think both. Short, short. I flash long. Flash long. Side. I'll HP last. Is it towards short? Short. Is dinked. Nice! Oh my god, what the
कराची में बेस्ट बिरयानी कहाँ मिलेगी?
मेरे घर पे मिलेगी
क्योंकि ये ले आई है नेशनल की बॉम्बे बिरयानी कराची खास। जो भी घर लाए कराची की बेस्ट बिरयानी बनाए।
ट्राई करके देखो कराची की बेस्ट बिरयानी।
ये हुई ना कराची वाली बात।
कहते हैं dreams are impossible. और luxury is not for everyone. और ये भी कहते हैं कि power is beyond your reach. बस लोग तो कहते हैं और हम करते हैं. Now, greater power, more control, luxurious comfort, impeccable style.
Oh, shot. Under you. Wait. That's nice. I took the up. Thank you. We're sick, boys. Oh, boy, I wanted to help you. I got so blind.
New year, I was actually just reading your interview you gave with HLTV, and there was a lot of insights in there about, you know, coming into the new year, about reflections of your last year. Sucking dick actually was as Flamesy highlights.
What did you say?
But I mean, let's start there, because you know you were saying, I'm not gonna keep talking about how good my coach is. It doesn't mean he's not a good coach. Is that the translation of that? Is that what that means?
No, yeah, because so nowadays the problem is, I understand what people mean is that it's tough to judge like the level of a coach because you have no insight, etc. So the only way I can say my coach is good is to praise him and say what he does. Like he's a bit weird. So if I don't say what he does, it's bad. That's actually like the really shortcut that people did. So no, I mean, yeah, of course I had to mention him and say all the work he does for the team.
But there's such a big support staff as well. You've got assistant coach, you've got your manager as well, who kind of makes sure you're where you need to be and doing the right things as well. So it's a whole team, and it feels like Vitality
as well. Don't forget.
Performance coach.
No, the manager and the performance coach is the same person.
But that was. But I mean, that whole unit, inside and outside the server. I'm sure that's a big contributing factor to you being able to kind of stay in form for such a long and busy year.
Yeah, I mean, they make sure, like all of them make sure that we are in the best condition. to only think about CS and do the best in the game for the coach and assistant coach, and for the outside for the others, to make sure that we are in the best condition and we can be mentally ready for anything happening.
Now, I saw a quote as well where you said, I've got such a good team, so let's not waste it, kind of vibe, right? And I'm curious, did you find yourself like just, when you're lying awake at night or wherever when your mind starts to wander, just do you feel additional pressure when you're the one calling the shots with such a talented roster?
In a way, yeah, of course. I mean, people say always they have the shortcut to say, yeah, it makes sense they win because they have a great team. It's not the way it works.
Like they can dismiss it, yeah, sure.
Like there is a lot of big names that didn't win, even with big team, because it's tough to make think work together, and that's my job. So, as I said, my job maybe people think that we don't play the best CS tactically or whatever. Maybe other IGL have more tactics, but my goal is to make sure that those 4 guys are playing the best, and if it happens, I win. Yeah. And who cares? You play the best Counter-Strike ever. Who cares? Plays the best football. The most important is that win the Champions League or the World Cup. So for me, it's no matter how good you play. It's just how beautiful you play. It's more how good you play.
Yeah. Well, I think the trophy cabinet usually means you're doing all right. Yeah. I think you've got nothing to worry about, and I'm excited to see what the new year holds.
Goal for Vitality, keep building on that cabinet of trophies into 2026. This series, one that's hotly anticipated, the return of a familiar head-to-head in s1MPLE versus ZYWOO, but it's looking further afield that there's more unexpected twists and turns in this one. BC game grinded for this view through stage 1, but meeting a very tough opponent, #1 in the world, to open things up. Might have had a couple of chances on Dust 2. Map ended up being far closer than I think you were ready for. Now we return to familiar ground. It's Overpass. This was where the tournament started for this BC game squad, to mixed results.
Depending on the halves, yes, the T side, not too good, was it? But a comeback from 11-2 against Legacy forged something for BC game. Can the CT side do them any favors? Not today. Not in this pistol. s1MPLE traded after 1. And Vitality hold a man advantage early in the round. The B-site hold has been something to marvel in that one game of asking, because, well, up against 3D Max, they got 3 rounds T-side and swiftly lost. BC game would need to play their best half yet, and that's saying something against a Team Vitality who are on a 5-win streak here on Overpass. A litany of teams left behind them, back in the dust. Perhaps a gamble worth making in a pistol like this. You don't want to be saving, so Aragon shifts away. Info about to come in. Once it does, Vitality erupt, rushing this A site. They've hit the perfect timing. Crazy still hasn't seen it.
He's missed this on every jump.
Oh dear.
Moving forward now with a bit of an aggressive stance on Crazy. At least gets him out of the firing line of this long control. Smoke down at the 30-second mark. They're going to come right through it. Molly burns out Electronic at the car. Aragon forced forward on the dual Berettas. Can't find a thing. And so Vitality, after that double entry out towards long, we'll see that pistol round through to the very end.
A stack may be there, but the utility is perfect. Molly smoke, burning out Electronic, full blind. Very little anyone can do to stop that. So Vitality start things off strong on the harder half as well. Lots to prove here, but not just in this match, more so in this tournament if we zoom out for Vitality, because coming off the back of falling to Falcons with a stand-in back last week at Bounty, definitely got their eyes on this trophy, looking to pick it up back-to-back years. It eluded Apex for oh so long. Trophy that Electronic picked up 6 years ago in 2020. In an empty arena. And even the idea that we would be seeing these guys in the playoff feels far-fetched. More so with this opening match, staring them dead in the face. Because it is reassuring that Vitality can go through the rigmarole that was Dust and some of the really late rounds and messy calls and crazy moments and still get out pretty safe.
Yeah. This one could have some intrigue about it. You're going into the stack. You've seen the 5-7s do work, but no ammo for Aragorn, and every shot counts.
This
means Vitality are in. Simple.
Still here.
Raising kill on a Robs with this backstab. Lines up even more. And now Electronic at home in this B site, tucked in at the barrels. Mutira's here just to try and throw them off and keep them guessing. It's the clear from Flames that seeks to steal it all away. Narrow margins on this round as Flames once again delivers for Vitality.
He's just been the savior of this series, hasn't he? A back-to-back insane multi-kill, a 5K and then 4K follow-up on Dust 2. So many important trades on that T side as well. And here, realizing, yeah, nameplate, you know there's more in store in this B-bomb site. Not falling for Electronic. So Vitality, deal with the force buy, deal with the stack, and have one more freebie to walk past. Simple, here's Kevlar.
And he has tried to be very involved from the get-go of Overpass. I'll say this as well, even in the lost games, Electronic able to kind of seamlessly slip back into his spots down here on B on both halves. In that 3D Max one especially, the only player that showed up to play in that head-to-head.
Oh, you've been waiting so long for that, and he just sprays. Body tags. Extra second to line that up. Could have been a man advantage BC game. Now it feels like a very unlikely round win. Rob's passive as ever, holding the short push. Caught jumping, that's something, but Galil dead as well. 2 kills. Bomb's gonna run it in A.
Yeah, you know in all this downtime you're losing control of the other side of the map. ZYWOO will be aggressive here.
Okay.
No reason